Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Gun Street Wiring Shop. They're a real small company who focuses on quality and community. They are like a small company. I forget how many guys are there, but it's like a pretty
I haven't
tight
had a
deal.
chance to count.
But basically what they do is they provide like electrical wiring for guitars. So if you're looking for something, whether it's like some modern like splitting options or just going back to some old school 50s style electrical setups, gunstreetwiringshop.com is the place to go.
Yeah, I'm considering picking up one of their SG harnesses right now. When I rewired my SG back in the day, I put the wrong pots in it, and I just hate the way the sweep is on it. It's got that big like what is it called? Like when it's got the big like curve to it, where like it's real loud and then real quiet really quickly. There's no sweep on it. I know linear is audio. They have an audio curve on them. I really want like a nice linear taper or whatever it takes to fix that issue with my SG. So I might hit them up soon, pick out a wiring harness from my SG and swap it in. Because I got to say, the reason I haven't fixed it is because I hate working on the SG wiring harness. It's just such a pain in the butt. Like I feel like even like complicated wiring harnesses like Strats are easier for me than the SG. I think it's just that extra pot. There's 4 pots in there. There's a switch I'm not used to, and it's just like in a cramped little space, and I never have fun doing it. So looking at their site, their SG wiring harnesses start below $50, $47.95 for one of them. So I would totally pay someone $50 to never have to wire my SG again. Yeah, go check them out. GunstreetGuitarEmporium.com.
Yeah, this episode is also brought to you by Sinusoid. This week we're talking about Tech Flex.
Tech Flex!
Tech Flex makes it feel like you got a snake behind you. That's what they tell me anyway on the street.
Cool song, Steve.
Yeah, Tech Flex is basically like what? It's a thin plastic polymer sheath that wraps around your cable.
It's like a plastic net around your cable. It makes it slide around. It doesn't bind up on anything. I just love my Tech Flex. Like, I love the sound of like uncoiling my cable and hearing it all drop on the floor and slide all over the place. There's something very like tactile and satisfying about it.
I think one of the cool things with Tech Flex is it also gives you some really cool color options.
Yep.
Because it's like semi-transparent.
Like I said, it's like a net, so you can kind of see the cable through it.
Yeah, so basically like, orange cable underneath white Tech Flex is going to look completely different than like a green cable underneath white Tech Flex.
You just said 4 different colors. The way you phrased that was really weird.
Orange cable, white Tech Flex, green cable, white Tech.
Oh, okay,
Tech
white. So
it's gonna be like white, but there's gonna be like different undertones.
Well, the white is gonna make everything look a little lighter, like make it look creamier. Like you put it over red, it's gonna make it look pink. They've got rainbow Tech Flex, and you can choose different colors underneath that. Like black look underneath the rainbow looks different from white under the rainbow. Mm-hmm. If you want to have emphasis on like the one color, you could put red under there and it'd be a more reddish rainbow. I mean, there's all kinds of options. You can come up with like your own custom like look. That's a cool thing. Anytime you can get a custom look going for your own rig, it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, so head on over to sinusoid.com, check out all their cable and Tech Flex options. Today, I guess.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow.
Don't do it tomorrow. Do it today.
Today.
Pause this podcast. Go do it right now. You don't really have to pause it. You can do both at the same time. Hey, this is Ryan.
And this is Steve, and you're listening to 60 Sucky
Hum.
You're listening to 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast.
There it is.
Yeah.
You did it, Steve. I'm proud of you. You got anything new?
Yeah, I traded my Godin radiator. Had it for a while. Never really like bonded with it. Now that I don't have it, I kind of partially feel like I need another one.
Shut up. You talked about getting one of those for years. Like pre-podcast, you were like, I got to get a radiator someday. I've just been looking at these radiators. Back when you were not even playing guitar, you were like full-time bassist.
Yeah. They look super cool. And the one that I had was actually like was blue with the white pickguard, Moto pickguard, I think.
Oh yeah, they all have the moto.
And
don't
no,
they? I think they all have that pretty drastic moto.
Yeah, but some of them were white, some of them were black, and eventually Godin just only made those with a black finish in like a onyx, what they call onyx pickguard. So mine was like a little harder to find, and the guy, I had it up on Facebook Marketplace, he hit me up, and he was like, dude, that thing's just beautiful. Like, this is what I got to trade if you're down. So when I traded it for, and guys in the Facebook group already saw it. Actually, did you post a picture on Instagram?
I did.
Yeah, so everyone's seen it now.
Not of the full body, just of some of the details.
Right. So it's a Fender 70s reissue. So it's the fat head suck, but I don't know what year it was made because I actually never looked. I kept meaning to look.
Well, it's MIM, so I'm assuming like late 90s, early 2000s.
Well, they still make them like currently.
Oh, well, maybe it's newer than
so
that.
I don't know how old it is. But yeah, it's the 70, either the classic 70s or the 70s reissue. They kind of went under different names, but they were all the same thing.
It feels nice, man.
It's kind of got some quirks.
Yeah.
The the white pick guard was swapped out for a pearloid. There's no back plate on it. There's a back plate that came with a case, or a back plate that came with a guitar, but it's not attached to the guitar. Right.
I always take off the back plate no matter what.
Yeah. So I don't know if I should tell the full story of how I got it. I feel like it's long and kind of crazy.
You should paraphrase. Like a few weeks ago, you did a really good hot take on something where it was really fast. So see if you can do that again.
So basically, it was ships passing in the night for like 3 days. Like we just couldn't work stuff out, and finally, so the day before I actually picked it up, the guy's like, "Oh, I got a hard case. What kind of case do you have?" And I'm like, "I just have a gig bag." He's like, "Oh, well, I'll sell you the case for like $80." And I was like, "Nah." And then we just missed again. Like we couldn't meet up, and it was all on his end. Like I was always ready, and he just wasn't. He just bailed. Like he just flaked. So finally, on the last day, he's like, "I'm ready right now. Like I'm at my house. I already called the guardhouse because he lived in this like gated community where you had to call the guardhouse to have visitors come over." And he's like, "If you're down to like come back to me," because I'd already driven out there once and just missed them. He's like, "If you drive out here again, I'll just give you the case." So I get out there. I meet the guy. He's like super happy with the Godin. I'm like, cool. I pull out the Strat, and it's got scallop fretboard.
Oh, man.
Which was like the joke in the Facebook group was like, oh, all you need on that thing is a scallop fretboard, and then you can play all the Yngwie riffs. Because like the 70s Strat.
So that wasn't in the ad?
Well, it wasn't an ad. Like it was my ad, and he just offered it.
Trade.
But he didn't like say anything about it. So either way, like
to be honest, it's a pretty subtle scallop on there.
Yeah.
I mean, it fully does the job of a scalloped fretboard. But it's like if I walked past it in a guitar store, there's maybe like a 1 in 10 chance I would have noticed.
I didn't notice it until I saw it from the side. Actually, I didn't even really notice it until I started playing it.
He might not have even known if he wasn't the original person who had that mod done. You know,
I just noticed that like no, he actually said something to me like, "Oh yeah, the frets are scalloped." Like when I was getting it. But the cool thing actually that made it worth driving out there is the case. He said that he paid like $125 for it, but I can't find any examples of this case. It's one of those Fender G&G cases.
It's a fun case. It's got the slide locking briefcase.
Yeah, it's the briefcase locks. It's got the keys for that.
Yeah,
it's got the red crushed velvet interior.
Yeah,
it's the Fender G&G Deluxe case. So I actually haven't been able to find this exact model case. I found similar ones. And the ones I found that are all similar were all like $200 new, like $200 to $225. So I don't know if he got it mixed up or maybe like he got a good deal or something. But it's a really nice case. I'm hoping that basically I can use that to kind of like bump up the value of it. But I think I'm sitting in a pretty good spot to recoup what I paid for the Godin originally.
I think so. I mean, you're never going to, like, you kept that thing around longer than 90 days. So
yeah.
It's like you're never going to get all your money back.
Yeah, yeah. It was taking up shelf space.
In your retail shop situation. Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah, so what's new with you, Ryan?
You're going to leave it here, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a video of it.
Yeah, do some video and stuff.
I just want to talk about the scallops on it and, like, like talk about the guitar, and then
Cool.
you can sell it when I'm done, Steve.
All right, sounds great.
All right, you asked me what's new with me.
I did ask you that.
A week or so back, I stripped the paint off of that Squire Bullet Mustang that I have. And today I got the fire in my belly to do something with it. I've been spending a lot of time like trying to figure out what to do with the finish, like what to paint it with, like if I can do glitter on it easier than I normally do. If I want to hand paint it, like paint designs on it, or do, you know, funky weird stains or something. And I just kind of spent some time thinking about it. As like, I think this guitar just wants to be naked. So I just completely reassembled it without any finish on the wood at all. It's just raw wood. The body kind of matches the headstock now, that light, like Squire wood that's on the, like the light maple that Squire uses, this without like a yellow finish on it. I think it's cool. I did a video of it. I put it up on YouTube. People are already angry at me because they're like, hey, this is like the worst like refinishing video ever because you didn't do anything. And like half the people are like, oh, take it apart and put tongue oil on it or do this and that.
Yeah.
Here's all my suggestions. It's like, guys, I think I kind of just want to leave it naked for a while.
I like how you threw like the kill switch on that. Like,
oh,
that's
yeah.
a nice touch.
I did the kill switch mod because I'd done it on that Pink Dean a while
Right.
back. I knew exactly how to do it. So it took me an extra 10 minutes to work that in there. And there was already a route underneath the pickguard to accommodate it. So it was a no-brainer to just throw it in there real quick. Yeah, I've got a big red arcade button on there as a kill switch. Go watch the video. It's fun. What are your thoughts on the raw wood thing, Steve?
I think it looks fine. Like, it looks really cool. I think, you know, whenever people see raw wood, especially like a light raw wood like that, like I think people do, it's going to like, that guitar's never going to last. It's going to rot away because it's not finished. But it's like, it's a Squire Bullet Mustang, man.
Yeah, it's a $150 guitar.
Like, wasn't going to last that long anyway. Let's be honest.
Well, it's like, I understand the wood's not going to hold up to sweat and stuff over time. It's going to get greasy and gross looking. That's a relic, man. Maybe I want that look. Who knows? Maybe it'll look cool.
Maybe it'll just start smelling like you.
Yeah, it'll take on my odor.
And no one will ever want to steal it.
It is a little. I have played it a little bit today. I will say that the armrest is rough against my bare skin, so I might get sick of it at some point. And be like, it's time to put at least a clear coat on this.
You should just put like some kind of like sticker on the arm part so it's smooth.
Yeah, I like the way you think. Or just like tape it off and just spray that area.
Yeah, there you go. Or like I was thinking like something like a cell phone protective screen. But it would just be right there.
Yeah, like the clear plastic pick guard that they put on acoustic guitars.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. I like the way you think.
Very
Steve.
classy.
Yeah.
I'm a classy guy.
I was thinking it would be fun to like do a laminate of like a drum shell material over the whole top of it and get really funky. But like all the stuff that I was thinking about all involved a lot of work. And I knew there was a big risk for it just turning out really crummy, as my refinishing experiences tend to.
Wait, you turn out something crummy? Never.
I know, right? And honestly, it's like, it's not good fodder for video material, because if I do like a refinish with a thick clear coat, because I'm doing like glitter or something like that,
yeah,
it takes forever for that stuff to cure enough for me to get a polish on it. So I was like, remember that Flying V I did? It took me like a year and a half to get around to finishing it. That's not going to be good for YouTube content, you know? Also, I don't ever really want to do a refinish like that ever again, because it's a pain in the ass.
Right.
So I've been trying to think up ways of like finding someone who like works a spray booth in an auto shop or something to do metal flake sprays for me.
You just got to get that tent.
Get that tent outside. Build a finishing shed outside. And that's another thing, is my wife is pregnant. The garage is very connected to our house, and anytime there's something like defuming in the garage, it stinks up the whole house. She's already like nauseous like a good amount of the time, and I don't think she would put up with that at all.
Her and Filbert.
Me and you made that joke earlier off mic, and I still don't understand it. It's like a reference to a show or something.
Yeah, don't ruin it for the listeners. They
all
know.
Right. They know. But yeah, I would end up living outside with the guitar if it was degassing and stinking up the whole house with fumes. But I gotta say, I like the look. I like the feel of it. I feel like it's given me an experience so that I can talk in the future about the difference between a guitar that's, got a thick candy finish on it and has like an open grain thing going
Right.
on. Like, I honestly can't say that I feel any difference in between how it is now and how it was. But maybe going back and forth with another guitar, I'll notice some sort of resonant difference. I don't know.
Right.
I kind of doubt it.
What I think something that would be maybe be a lot of stupid work, but would be kind of like interesting to do would be to do like a straight clear, like a absolutely like clear,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
The
And
thing is that like it looks okay now because it's like a soft matte finish on there. That wood is not great looking. Like
it's not.
Once you get a clear on it, it's going to really highlight how bad it
I
looks.
feel like that would be like kind of like put a clear and then like use like ultra fine sandpaper to get it as thin as possible.
Okay.
So it basically like you're like, no, it's finished, but it still looks like raw wood.
Right. Like put a matte finish on there,
Yeah.
just to hold the grain down, I guess.
Are you ready to hit this ad?
Yeah, let's hit this ad.
This is an ad sent by Josh Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm.
This is for the Aero dBuz.
This isn't one of our normal ads. This is like it was an article on Guitar World, article in air quotes.
No,
because it's really an advertisement.
I found
for
it on their website, and it's actually part of like a series that this guy like writes, I guess.
Huh.
I don't know. It makes it look like it. Anyway,
it's called. They say it's a review.
Yeah.
It's I think if you've got a review on Guitar World, it's probably a paid advertisement. Let's be honest.
Right.
And I'm not really one to talk. I do paid demos on YouTube, but this thing is just ridiculous.
Anyway, so
which
what
just
this
makes me suspect.
This is a 20-foot guitar cable with an extra 2-foot. What would you call it?
It's like a little like silver dollar sized piece of metal that goes off of one of the sides of
in the
plug.
article they say that it is where'd it go? A size of a nickel. It's a brass disc.
Yeah,
So the size of a nickel.
It's the size of a nickel. It looks bigger than that, but maybe.
And basically, you're supposed to tuck it into your pants.
Yeah, you stick it in your pants and make sure it presses against your skin. I get the idea of this. I get the concept. Is that like it makes it so that the guitar is permanently grounded to your body. You know how like when you take your hands off of your guitar, it buzzes, and then you press something, you touch something metal on it, and it grounds it, and the buzz goes away. This just makes sure that buzz never happens. But like my feeling is, do you really need to get rid of that buzz so badly when you're not touching the guitar? Like get a volume pedal, or just turn down the volume on your guitar. It seems like unnecessary. But then on the other hand, I have done this exact same thing before.
Really?
Yeah. Do you remember way back in the day when I put a single coil? No, I put a humbucker in the sound hole of my old Hohner acoustic.
Yeah.
So the problem with that was that there's no way to ground the strings.
Right.
Because the bridge is,
It's
an
plastic
acoustic,
or
yeah,
whatever.
it's an acoustic bridge saddle on it. So I ran because I had drilled a hole and put a output jack on it for the pickup.
Yeah.
So it would function as an electric guitar. So I ran a wire from the output jack from the ground, and I would just stuff it into my pants just the way this is intended to be.
Jeez.
So it would be grounded so I could play it live. I'll say right now, it was not comfortable because it was like a bare like copper wire, like digging into my skin. Also, it made me feel real stupid.
I feel like that, and so that is like one of the things they say on here is like, are your acoustic instruments difficult or impossible to ground? And so, I mean, I'm sure there's practical applications for this, but
it's a problem solver for the kind of situation I just described. And like, you have a very funky instrument situation.
It's a problem. And so for a general use, this guy's like describing, do you ever take your fingers off the strings? And so he does talk about like, when playing in slack tuning or playing like an open chord tuning, like you have like certain times you just want like to do drone stuff, and so you're not fretting anything. But the rest of the time, like one of the things that in this like quote article is like, I'm playing my jazz bass. I'm like, I'm always touching. I'm never not touching the strings on bass.
And it's like if you need to not be touching the strings and like a note is ringing out, that note is going to be overtaking that buzz by leaps and bounds. Like no one is going to hear that buzz. And if it's an issue of like you just want to stand there without touching your bass and be quiet, like seriously, learn to use your volume knob.
Yeah. Some of it's kind of weird. Like the product itself, I guess, is like $50, which I'm like, well, if you're really having that big of a problem with buzz, why don't you just use that $50 to pay a tech to figure out what's wrong with your guitar? I mean, hello.
I think if there was I'm going to backtrack and say that this is a problem solver for those funky kinds of instruments that, you know, someone's converted an acoustic to have an electric pickup, and there was no way to ground it. This solves the problem. But the problem with the ad copy that I was reading for it is that it pushes it as like, you need this for all your instruments. Like, here's all the situations where you need this. And they were just so thin.
Yep.
And so, like, no one is actually using their instrument in that way.
Like, in the studio, do you fight to record a quiet track? That's what
editing's for, dude. Yeah, and if you're playing, that buzz is not coming through unless you have like a really funky instrument situation. Like, I don't know, man. And if you really need to have an open droning string, you can touch other places on your guitar to ground it. You can touch the bridge where the string isn't.
Not if your guitar's made out of wood.
You can touch the string on the other side of the nut.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ground it. You can touch a tuner. You can ground it by touching other surfaces. You don't have to be like, oh, there's no way to ground it now that I'm letting a string ring out. It's a dumb concept, but it's a problem-solving product. And one day we're going to have to recommend it to someone who's asking us, like, what do I do about this weird guitar? I pick up an acoustic guitar. I can't ground it.
Aero dBuz, man.
Yeah. You can also, like I was saying, solve the problem with a 10-cent piece of like wire running from your output jack, and you just shove that in your pants too.
Sounds like you just want to shove stuff in your pants.
You can make this so cheap out of any cable that's got a sleeve that you can pull back and access the wiring on it. You know.
Yeah.
You don't even have to do that. You can tape a piece of cable to the grounding sleeve on another cable and shove it in your pants. Take this cable and shove it in your pants. I mean, if I was, you know what, Steve? If I was going to shove a cable in my pants, I'd make sure it was from Sinusoid. Because they make a damn sexy cable. That's what I'm saying.
What just happened? All right. This first topic was sent to us by Alex Booth. He wants to know about version 1 pedals and whether or not it's worth it to buy them when they're on closeout.
I think someone on the group this past week bought some JHS pedals that were version 1s that were on clearance.
Yeah, so the Emperor and the Unicorn.
Yeah,
I think there was one other, and then a few months ago, the Kilt version 1 was cleared out, and Walrus Audio as well. Like I think at the end of last year,
they were clearing out the Iron
cleared
Horse.
out the Iron Horse, and then it was the Iron Horse, the Mesner, the Contraband, and something else, all with the speculation that they were being the Plainsmen, all with the speculation that they were being cleared out to make room for version 2s. Those ones, aside from the Iron Horse, I don't know at the time if any of those were confirmed. It's all, but anytime like a company is like clearing out version 1 of something, it's just assumed that it's because version 2 is coming.
And also, like, up until that moment, you didn't know it was version 1. You thought it was just the pedal.
Right.
Like, oh, we're getting rid of version 1. So you're saying there's a version 2.
Yeah, so in the case of the JHS stuff, I don't know if there's a version 2 out. I haven't seen it.
Well, a lot of their version 2 stuff, or like newer versions, because some are on their version 3 and 4.
Right.
It's like you know exactly what they're doing because they're doing it to their whole line. They're adding those extra switches on the side. They're adding a jack for their extra little control thing. I think they have soft switches now where older versions didn't have soft switches. So you know like where that stuff is heading. You know like what it's going to be equipped with unless they do something really weird.
Okay, so the Unicorn and Emperor 2s are both single size pedals.
Right. before
So
they
they shrunk
were
it down.
wide
So that's
boys.
kind of like what they did with the kilt.
Yeah. So, do you have any problem with this? Like companies releasing version 2s?
No, I think especially in like this kind of case, like going to a compact style is what a lot of people want. So they're really just giving them that. I do think in some cases, whether or not they're worth it, it depends on how much space you have on your board, how much space you need, and it depends on
Do you want it?
whether you want it.
Do you need that pedal? Like if you think that the version 1 is something that you need and you want, I mean, let's tackle it from this angle. I know a lot of times on this show and in our online community, we're big into the concept of flipping gear and
Right.
the resale value as part of the attractiveness of people for certain
Yeah,
pieces
and
of gear.
so
But like, what about like just consider you're buying something because you actually want to use it, and who knows, you might want to use it forever. Like, does it matter if like the version 2 is going to come out and pummel the value of what you already bought or something like that?
Well, I think there are different angles here. The Kilt V1 I think is still retaining value because it's a different.
And
It's like such a drastically different design.
It has a boost in it.
It has that's what I mean. It has the boost, whereas the version 2 has the JHS Red remote set up, but it's depending on how you're set up, like that might be too like not convenient. And I'm not sure if it actually activates a boost. I think it just switches modes in the pedal.
I didn't look at it too closely.
So I think there are times where a company might be offering something, but they remove a feature in version 2 that people want and that people wanted. I guess another like semi example of this is with Boss. The DD3, DD5, and DD7 values have all been pretty stable for a really long time.
Uh-huh.
The DD6 value crashed out. Like,
really?
Plummeted. I think the DD5 and I think both
the DD6 is the one that I have, and it doesn't have external tap.
Right. So I think the DD3 and the DD5 both go for more money than the DD6.
Right.
Even though they would have all been like originally right around the same price, because people want that external tap.
Yeah.
On a pedal like that. So there's, there
are.
The
DD3 doesn't have any tap.
Right. But that's okay because it's
got that.
The DD3 overall is kind of a different beast.
Well, the DD3 has that tone magic.
Oh, that tone magic.
Good. It sounds really good. I got 2 of them. I like them.
You have 2 DD3s?
Yep.
Nice.
One of them is kind of broken, but I still use it.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like that idea as far as flipping goes. I think if you're just looking for something, that's where you can go to get some like really good deals on getting something new, because a lot of times when the version 1s get cleared out, they're being sold for like less than what they were going for on the used market.
Right.
So like you said, like if that was something you really wanted, then strike while the iron is hot, basically.
Yeah. And a lot of times when this stuff goes on like mega clearance from the manufacturer because they're trying to clear it out, you can flip it still. It'll go back on the used market for more than they were clearing it out. They're just trying to clear inventory and have fresh inventory with their new stuff. Like there's people out there, reflipping all sorts of stuff that was on clearance not long ago. Yeah. So it is a big gamble. You don't know what the value of these things are going to be, but I'd say I think it is worth buying version 1s, especially if it's a well-proven product that people like. I mean, they're coming out with a version 2 of a lot of this stuff because people did like it and they want to update it and make it so people like it even more. So maybe the first version has some merit to it and you want to explore that. You just have to ask yourself if you're the type of person who's going to be bummed out knowing that out there's a newer version that has maybe slightly different features or something like that. I'd say that I really like my version 2 Iron Horse. And I know that the version 2 fixed some volume issues from the version 1.
Right.
And I'll say that I'm glad I have the version 2. So I probably would not buy a version 1 if my version 2 went kaput on me. Even if I could save some money, I'd buy another version 2.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ready to do some housekeeping?
Yeah, let's do some housekeeping.
Man, we had well, you guys, listeners, kind of went to town the last couple weeks, I guess. To the extent where like this all happened during literally the busiest like 3 or 4 weeks of work that I've had in years.
You've been slammed, dude. I can't believe how hard you're working.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's I don't want to say it's fun. But it's what it is. So it feels good, I guess.
Is this like the new normal for you, or is there an end to this eventually?
It's just really busy right now. Well, so I just wrapped up a project. I had like a project that we were in our last stretch, and it's a project I've been working on for like a year and a half.
Okay.
So basically, when we hit our final stretch, I was like, I'm gonna make sure this is done, and if it breaks, like I'm gonna break it. Like as far as that process goes, like if it's gonna fail, like I wasn't gonna let somebody else screw it up. So I worked. I had a stretch where I worked 9 days. I took 2 days off, and that's when we did the
case
the
testing.
case stuff, and then I worked 8 straight days after that. So, and then I had like a regular weekend, and then this week happened, and this week was like the thing is like the hours really haven't been like too crazy, like 8-9 hour days, but they've been really like intense while I'm there. So like today technically was like a 9.5, 10 hour. I think I was at work for 10 hours. So you take out lunch, it's a 9.5 hour day. But I didn't go on my computer at work today. Like I was in the lab. When I wasn't in the lab, it was because I was eating lunch or like using the bathroom. And that was the only time like I wasn't like doing like sciencey stuff that
You've just been full-time science.
involved like, you know, working with equipment or like
right.
doing math on the fly because you don't have enough of what you need. So you need to know if you don't have enough of what you think you need. So you have to see if you can get by with what you actually have.
All right. Well,
Anyway.
let's do this housekeeping and
Yeah.
stop talking about your job.
So the $1 level,
It's my fault for
the $1
asking
level,
you about
our
it.
favorite level. We got Scott Hicks, Zach Cyphers, and David Luna. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I want it to be a goal of ours to get as many $1 pledgers as we can this year. I know there's not really much of a reward to that, other than you get the sense of satisfaction that you are helping the show out and helping us make content. I just bought tickets to go to Sweetwater's Gear Fest, and people who contribute through the Patreon and through the crowdfunding make that possible. That sort of thing I would not be able to do on my own dime. So big thanks to everyone, no matter what they donate.
Yeah. At the $5 level, we got someone who came in through Podbean. I think their name might be JD, but I don't really know
Hey,
because
JD.
I need to actually email them and be like, hey, guy,
Yeah, or girl.
person.
Yeah, how do we get a hold of you?
And then we got a couple people at the $10 level, which is our inner circle level. We got Emily Harris, who was the person who set up the GoFundMe for
Yeah.
Smash Guitars for Children.
Which hit its goal, by the way. We hit
Yeah.
$1,000 for that. And we still
Super
have
cool.
more smashing to do.
I know.
On the day that this episode airs, I should be receiving in the mail a replacement Epiphone SL neck from a listener.
Nice.
Who very generously donated it. We just paid the shipping for it. Apparently it's twisted, so it's not usable.
But it's intact.
Yeah,
so.
it's usable for us, for our
Yep.
purposes. So I think I haven't talked to Emily about it, but I think we're going to keep that contest running as until the guitar is completely unplayable.
Yeah,
Until
and
we
I
say it's
think
done?
you know the GoFundMe is like considered fully funded at $1,000, but I'm pretty sure you can
keep
keep going.
Yeah, like let's get more money for the kids. Why not? So super stoked to have her in the inner circle. It was a big party when we added her into the group, and it was like, "Yay, Emily's here!"
Yeah.
Because she's been a pretty consistent like contributor to the Facebook group for a while
Yeah.
now.
And then we got Nate Nagel, who also joined, actually also in the last week, the Inner Circle.
Yeah, I think he was same day as Emily. He had like 2 inner circle joins the same day.
So thanks a lot, everybody who supports the show financially or otherwise. If you want to find out more about that, head on over to Patreon and look for 60 Cycle Hum.
Yeah.
Give money to the podcast one, not the YouTube one.
All right. Next ad?
Yeah, this next ad was found by Ryan Burke.
That's me.
He's a podcast producer in San Diego, California.
Am I a producer or a personality? I guess I'm kind of both. Huh?
Yeah, porque no los dos. So this,
This is, I mean, speaking of like guitar finishes and refinishes and artwork on guitars, I didn't do any like dumb art on my Mustang, but someone did dumb art on this guitar. That's for sure.
yeah. So this says MIJ. This is the title. MIJ Japanimation themed guitar, 1980s vintage. One of.
One of what?
I don't know.
One of 6,000 that were made.
Yeah. Here's something. Here's something different. A rock and roll themed guitar by Apex, preserved, updated, and unique in tone. We have a nice modified and updated Strat style body with a Gibson-like neck. I reused the original single coils and the bridge humbucking pickup. I installed new audio taper pots, wiring, output jack, 5-way switch, some other garbage that I don't care about. This guitar has its own unique sound. The OEM pickups sound great. I'm hearing gold foil tone with the dirtier top end.
What?
I don't know, man. Basically, you guys are going to have to look at the pictures of this thing.
Yeah, it's crazy looking.
This looks like it's taken off of a screen grab of Street Fighter from like 1995.
It's got like a picture of this like kind of anime style dude, like blonde hair, like sweatband on his forehead, serious look, tie-dye shirt, like crazy pattern pants, and he's holding a guitar. He's a picture of a man on a guitar who's playing guitar. It's a picture of a man playing guitar on a guitar. Hey, you like guitar? You want guitar on your guitar? There's guitar on this guitar.
Oh, I don't understand why.
And then in two places, in really like awful like Windows 98 like word processor text, it says rock and roll with a really terrible like rainbow burst going on behind this guy. It never stops. This guitar keeps giving. Like the longer you look at it, there's more details.
Here's what I want to know. If this was a custom finish, why wouldn't you custom finish the guitar that the guy is playing to be the same guitar that you're playing?
Yeah, and have it like keep going in and in, like the same image on the guitar all the way in.
The guitar that he is playing looks like one of those Minoric flame guitars, which is to say the guitar that he's playing.
It's hard to tell because the guitar is obscured by the bridge of the actual guitar.
I think the guitar that he is playing might look cooler than the guitar that he's featured on.
I bet it does. If I could see the guitar better, I would be able to be a better judge of that. But it looks pretty awful. Is there writing on the headstock of the guitar in the guitar? I think it's like a Rastafari lightning bolt or something.
Oh.
It's like green and red and yellow. It's hard to tell what that is.
I think it's just supposed to be fire. I think it's a flame. It's like,
but there's not flame anywhere else.
I'm saying the guitar body itself is a giant like Minoric flame style body.
No, I'm talking about there's like an inlay on.
Yeah, I'm saying that's a flame.
Okay.
It's orange and yellow.
Oh, I see what you're saying on the guitar body.
And then
so you're saying it's an inlay of the flame on the painted guitar that's on the guitar.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's an inlay.
So the guy on the guitar too has like hippie details going on. He's got like a yin yang on his shirt. Like what do you call that shirt? It's like a Mid-Eastern.
It's confused. That's what it is.
Like Hindu sort of like ocean beach version of Middle Eastern religion sort of thing going on here. It's just, the whole thing's just awful, and it looks like there's damage on the lower horn.
Yeah, it's a big turnoff.
Yeah, that's the part that's going to make it so that I don't want to buy this guitar for $180. Like, what would you offer for this guitar? I know you're just like ready to go get it tonight.
75.
You would pay $75 for this guitar?
If I was actually interested in it.
Why would you be interested in this, Steve?
I'm not.
What's
I'm
wrong
saying
with you?
If. You know who might be interested in this guitar? Brian Gower from the Tone Jerks.
Oh my gosh, you think so?
That guy loves everything anime.
I didn't know that about him. I listened to their show a while back, and I thought it was good. Good show. Tone Jerks podcast.
I keep saying I'm gonna like go over there and hang out with those guys,
You
but
should.
like I've been really busy.
You have been busy.
It's kind of hard to be like, hey, Melissa, I'm gonna go record 2 podcasts this week.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing is just awful. There's nothing redeeming about it. And when it said Gibson style neck on it, it means a Jackson style neck. There's nothing Gibson about this. Go look at the pictures.
Maybe they meant like the neck shape.
I'm gonna say Oh, I'm sure it's like a 12-inch radius or even like a 14-inch radius or something like that. I'm going to say I wouldn't pay $35 for this.
Dang.
Even if I wanted it. Like if I was looking at like, oh, I can part that out, I still wouldn't pay $35
Even
for
if
it.
you picked it up and you're like, this is like a $400 playability level guitar, you wouldn't go higher than 35.
Did Apex make anything good?
I can't even find any indication that that's actually the brand of this guitar.
Yeah. If I picked it up and I knew that it was a secret like good guitar that someone had defiled,
Right.
then I would still try to lowball the hell out of this to see how low I could get it. Like, yeah, this isn't really anything. I'll pay you. If I knew that it was like, oh, this is like a secret, like Jackson guitar that is limited edition and they go for $800, I'd still be like, well, I best I can do is 50.
Oh my gosh.
Do we want to jump into the next topic now?
Yeah. Did you get a screen grab of it?
I did. You want me to show it to you?
Or you can just read it.
All right, I'll read it. It's from Kyle Smith. It was in our little post on the Facebook group where we asked for topics. Projects that are worth it in your experience. I have tons of ideas, but usually less time than I can spend on it. Maybe take inventory of past mods you've done that were worth it and maybe some ways to sort that out. Have you ever done mini mods, Steve? I'm trying to remember if
To
you've
like
done anything.
guitars?
Yeah.
I
think you
in
just
a while.
generally like repair things and fix things.
Yeah,
and
I've done
try to
some
bring them
like
back to
some
spec.
pickup swaps and but usually if I'm like buying stuff, it's just kind of a flipperoo and like I said, maybe like a pickup change out, but nothing too drastic.
Has there ever been anything you did and you're just like, man, I'm never gonna do that again? Because I got a laundry list. You know that I do bad things to guitars.
Yeah. Offhand, I can't. I probably have something somewhere. I know the one thing that I wish I sometimes think I should do on to every guitar is on when I had the Fender Jazz V, that American one. I had a thumb rest installed.
Oh yeah.
Perpendicular and touching.
It like Tetris.
Yeah,
with the pickup.
The bridge pickup. So it was kind of like in between the bridge and middle pickup, and I really liked that. I haven't needed that on like the Yamaha bass that I have because the pickups are like a humbucker style, so they're a little wider. They're like anyway. But I really like that mod. I think if I ever got like another jazz bass or like a PJ setup, I would definitely consider doing that to that again. But as far as things that like I've done where I was like, why did I do that? I can't think of anything.
Well, you're a better man than I am, Steve, because I've got a lot of mistakes in my past. I'll say that I've done. Have I done 3 glitters now? I have the Strat. I have the V. I guess I've only done 2.
Yeah, you regret them both.
While I was doing them, I definitely regretted them, and I would beg people like, if I ever think about doing this again, just stop me. And so that's one of the reasons why I didn't progress with the Mustang, doing more funky stuff with it. Just refinishing is a pain in the butt, especially if you don't have like industrial tools to do it, and you don't have like a proper workspace to do it, and you're just kind of fudging your way through.
Yeah.
I'm always like way too impatient, and I try to sand it before it's set all the way, and it just gets gummy, and then I have to wait again for it to firm up so I can sand away everything that I ruined on it, and like just hauling the guitar in and out of the house, like spraying it outside so it doesn't fume up the garage and the house, but then it still fumes up the house when it's curing in the garage or whatever. I don't think I ever really want to do that again if I can avoid it. Maybe someday I'll have a crazy idea and I just need to do it, but man, it is a pain in the butt. And people who can do it well at home in like a timely way that doesn't like completely aggravate their family, like more power to them. Mm-hmm. Like other things I've done.
Here's one that I want to know if it made the list.
Okay.
Chopping up a Strat pick guard so you could get the pickup just in the right position.
That I considered a success. I still consider that a success. With my Mexican Strat, I had some funky ideas. I wanted to experiment with moving the bridge pickup around like underneath the strings. I wanted to move it farther towards the middle pickup. And so I cut the pick guard into literally like 4 or 5 pieces
Yeah.
so I could just move stuff around as and I wanted. And it had kind of like a Van Halen Frankenstein sort of guitar thing going on where like there's big open like control cavities here and there and stuff.
It's kind of like the Van Halen Frankenstein thing. If you had seen that guitar, like the Van Halen Frankenstein guitar, if you saw a picture of it in a triple copied through a black and white Xerox machine photo
Yeah, yeah.
in
Like
a newspaper.
it was definitely definitely pretty mutated looking, not attractive at all, not easy on the eyes. But I think it was a success as far as experimenting because I found that I really did like the sound of the pickup moved about an inch away from the bridge,
Right.
from where it would normally be. It like warmed it up. It pulled back some of those ice pick highs you get from Strat bridges, made it a little bit meatier. I don't have my Strat set up that way now, but I really wouldn't mind going back to that kind of setup. I eventually cut a pick guard that looked, official, that had that kind of spacing on it. It just doesn't have a middle position pickup
Right.
slot in it, and I'm using a traditional Strat setup right now. Also, like being a demo guy, it's tough because I can't have stuff that's too weird because then I can't use it in demos because people will be like, well, how does that even relate to my experience with what guitars sound like?
Hmm.
So it's nice to have a more traditionally sounding Strat around.
So what's another thing that you would have put on?
Well, something that I'd want to like go back in time and dissuade myself from doing, like talk to teenage Ryan and be like, you don't really need to do this, is when I got my first electric guitar, I got deep into exploring like different modifications pretty early on.
Uh-huh.
I think like after having it like a month or two, I completely took the whole guitar apart and then put it all back together just to see like where all the parts were and what they all did and
Right.
how it
And
worked.
at the end you had like 3 screws left over.
Well, at the end, the soldering was definitely way worse inside. But my the thing ended up working through with that guitar is I ended up doing like coil splits on each humbucker in it and like a switch to
Right.
engage the bridge and the neck at the same time, and then I was experimenting with like making the pickups out of phase and things like that. And at the end, when I sold that guitar off, it was just Swiss cheese. Like there
Yeah.
were so many holes in it. And it was a fun experiment. But I think my mentality when I was a young guitarist is like I want a guitar that does everything and can do everything and has all the switches, like a million switches, a million knobs. I just go back and encourage myself to be like, hey, maybe do one mod to this guitar, then go get another guitar and do a different mod to that one and experiment that way instead of like just Swiss cheesing one guitar over and over and over again. I guess if I was going to experiment, it's good I did it to one guitar like that instead of
Yeah.
screwing up a bunch
I
of
mean, you
them.
always could have gone back through with like wood filler and just filled all the
Yeah, but
holes.
then I feel like it would have been better for me to experience more guitars and like have a guitar that wasn't constantly like, well, now I have to reverse this and try a different thing. Like do a mod and then leave it. But then on the other side, I'm like, hey, explore stuff, kids.
Yeah.
Like, go have fun. I'm trying to think of other dumb stuff I've done. On that guitar, when I had a Floyd Rose on it,
Uh-huh.
and I was trying to tighten down the little grip on the string as hard as I could, and I ended up cracking the little metal block that presses against the
Nice.
string. That's a mistake I made. Um, and then I did a really dumb thing, and it was a super cheap guitar. It was a
Right.
Slammer series. I went and paid the local guitar shop to install a new Floyd Rose into it because they claimed that you couldn't find that replacement part, the part
Hmm.
that I broke. So that was a big mistake. I would go back and be like, Ryan, just trash this guitar, or like go get a new guitar and leave
Do you
this.
still have that guitar?
No, I sold it off a long time ago. Um, Man, I'm trying to think of some of my other dumb experiments. there was a guitar that I was trying to refinish and I just got so much paint on it. Every time, I think I'm going to circle back to refinishing. Like, it's never been a good idea for me. Like, sometimes the results are fun, but the journey is just a massive headache. Like, I'm thinking about this guitar I got from a friend years and years ago, and I stripped it all the way down, and then I was trying to do a fun finish on it with spray paint, and it just ended up being like an inch thick and ugly and drippy.
Was that the yellow one?
Yeah. It was a Rogue.
I think it was gross.
It was really gross. It was really bad. Yeah, anytime I'm approaching a guitar with a can of spray paint, someone stop me. That's what I'm going to say.
No, Ryan, don't.
Trying to think if there was anything else I ever did. Every time I've reamed out tuner holes, it's been a mistake.
How many times have you done that?
A couple times.
One time you filmed it and put it on YouTube. And
yeah,
now everyone's
that was definitely a mistake to film myself.
Don't go to that guy's YouTube. He doesn't even know how to drill a hole. He doesn't even own a drill press.
By this point, I feel like most people should understand that when I'm doing repairs and modifications on our YouTube channel, this is not a tutorial. This is me leaving a record of the bad things I've done.
Yeah. All these people are freaking out, and you're over here just like, but did you die?
Yeah, did you die? Listen, this isn't me teaching you how to do something. This is me showing you a person making mistakes. This is like a journal, as far as I'm concerned. It's documentation of bad decisions. All right, do we want to tackle the last ad and get out of here?
No, we want to thank our sponsors.
Oh, yeah, we've been wanting to thank our sponsors before we get to that last ad, so you guys stick around and listen.
Yeah, so thanks, Gun Street Wiring Shop. Need to get something set up with you and Ryan.
Yeah, I need to get, they offered, like, hey, we heard you say that you might want to get something for your SG. So they're like, hey, pick something, let us know, let's work something out. So I think I'm going to get a harness from them. I just need to pick one, and I'll do a video of installing it and show that it doesn't turn me into a swear machine, because I hate rewiring my SG.
And big thanks to Sinusoid. Again, go check out Tech Flex. I gotta say it weird like that, otherwise I end up saying Tex Flex.
Yeah, it's Technical Flex, Steve.
Is it Technical Flex or is it Technician Flex?
It's TechBooks Flex.
Technology Flex.
Technology Flex.
Technology Flex.
Yeah, I like that. Flex your technology. Get some Tech Flex
on
your
there.
Sinusoid cable.
Yeah, check out their cable color options, their Tech Flex options. If you see
Sinusoid cables, the only cable so sexy you'll want to put it in your pants. .com.
All right, this last ad was sent by Paul Pennington. It's called Electric Guitar. Hello, selling a guitar I built from an old Fender and turned into something more unique. Guitar needs to be wired the rest of the way. Yeah, what?
He definitely turned it into something more unique. Do you want to try to describe it? Okay, take a moment, guys, before we start to describe it. Go pull up the picture on the imager in the show notes and take a look at this thing. This is a disaster. This is really bad.
Hold on.
I don't think there's pictures of it like with a bridge or anything either. Like, it's just almost wired up.
Hey Ryan, can you hold that picture up real fast?
Okay. Let's see if it will go vertical.
All right, ask me that question you asked me.
Steve, can you describe this guitar? Is that the question? Steve is making a face into his Instagram camera.
All right,
it's pretty bad.
It's got some trapezoids, and it's like
it has a lot of sharp edges.
You know, I used that description of like the Frankenstein thing and like copies of copies of copies, but you only saw it once.
Are you saying that the guitar I did is better than this?
Yeah, because this is like the same idea, but if it was an Explorer shape.
It almost has the St. Vincent thing going on in a couple of the angles, but not really at all. Way uglier and way worse than the St. Vincent Ernie Ball. Like, imagine you've got a Strat, and then you cut off the top horn at a 45-degree angle from the neck back towards your body.
Uh-huh.
And then you do another 45 angle degree cut in down from that top edge of the guitar down into the pick guard. This cuts into the pick guard, and there's like a V shape resting in between the two, like in between the bridge and middle pickup. And then it shoots back up, giving you like almost an Explorer style tail. Really hard angle cut there. There's a sharp edge there, like a flat edge going along the butt of the guitar. And then the finishing move on this guitar.
The finishing move.
Another angled cut meeting the back edge of the control side of the pickguard where the last tone knob is, that is so drastic that it cuts the route for the output jack of the Stratocaster in half.
Yeah.
And so this person has remounted the bullet-shaped Stratocaster jack onto this, and it's hanging halfway off the guitar body. Oh, also this thing looks like it was finger painted with like red and purple and gray paint. And the pickguard was painted at some point and then sanded, I think. This is a total disaster. Is there a headstock shot on this thing?
There is on the second photo.
It does look like it's a Fender.
Yeah. So
oh gosh,
the neck is pretty tore up. But I was gonna ask you that question: would you pay $50 for this?
And it's a $50 neck with some pickups.
Yeah, I would.
And it's got tuners on it.
I think the pickups they look like they're probably garbage. Obviously, the pick guard is mangled. I guess you get some knobs.
I love that in this picture you can see the piece of wood and sawdust on the ground.
Yeah, that's actually great.
It's like, look, I did it. Look what I did. Here's the picture.
Here's the evidence. I did a thing. But the neck is, like you said, it definitely looks like a Fender neck. It might be a Squier neck because it does have the double string tree, but Fender has used the double string tree on their own guitars. The neck itself actually looks like it's dirty. It's very worn, but it looks like it could be like a super functional neck. I would think I would pay $50 just to try to get the neck, and then just, I don't know, I might take like everything else and repackage it as like, oh, pickups and some electronics. Here you go. Do the thing. And just see what happens.
Well, here's something that I'm wondering. Is that the thing that's making you wonder if it is a Fender neck is that it's got a flat edge where it meets the body on the fretboard, where Strats have a more rounded edge and Telecasters have the flat edge.
So you're saying you don't think that this is actually a Fender neck?
I don't think it is. I don't think. No, look at that headstock bulb.
It's a little off, but I couldn't tell if that was like
that's a Fender.
An angling thing or what.
This is some like junk, like other guitar, and the headstock looks like it was soaked in a swamp or something.
Yeah,
this is a bad guitar.
All right,
$50 is still a gamble in my opinion because you don't know what this neck is. I don't see a Fender marking on it when I zoom in. I don't see a Squier marking. Things about it look off to me. This is. I wouldn't pay money for this. I would take it off someone's hands.
You would request money to take this?
No, if someone said, "Hey, do you want this?" I'd be like, "Yeah, let me take a look at it. I'll take it home and figure out what I can do with this."
All right.
But I wouldn't pay money for this.
All right. I think.
Oh, it's just so hard to look at.
I think I would maybe request more pictures.
You want to look at more pictures of this? I want to see less pictures of this guitar.
I just want to see the front and back of that headstock.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. You tell us about the song, Steve.
Yeah, this week's song was sent to us by Isaiah Dominguez. We met Isaiah up at NAMM this year. He came out with Albie.
Oh, yeah.
So he says, my friend Casey Bates recently won a Grammy for his work on the most recent Portugal the Man album. This is a song that I recorded with him years before he did that. I was so close, except not close at all. And then he says something about a band called This Providence I've never heard of. And something about Gavin Phillips. I don't know,
man.
I guess Gavin Phillips played on this song, but I have no idea who the band This Providence is. So I guess that's that. He says he says I'll leave it up to the listeners to decide which guitar tones came from my Top Hat Super Deluxe 33. Though my parts caster that is no longer with us, rest in peace, pour one out for the homie. And which tones came from a Kemper, also through my parts caster, rest in peace, pour one out for the homie. This song is called No Matter Where. It's by Isaiah Dominguez.com.
All right, enjoy it.
Bye.
Later.